Lessons learned through travel, stories of resilience, kindness, and personal breakthroughs. Travel has always been more than just a means of seeing the world. It is a journey that transcends the physical and delves deep into the emotional and spiritual. Whether you're navigating bustling city streets or trekking through remote mountain ranges, travel has a unique way of testing your limits, reshaping your perspectives, and teaching lessons that last a lifetime. Here, I share a tapestry of experiences that have profoundly shaped my understanding of resilience, kindness, and self-discovery while on the road. Number 1. Resilience. The power of adaptability in the face of chaos. It was a chilly November evening in Reykjavik, Iceland, when my carefully laid plans unraveled in spectacular fashion. I had rented a camper van to chase the northern lights, armed with a map, some snacks, and an unshakable sense of optimism. The weather, however, had other ideas. As the winds picked up and snow began to blanket the landscape, my sense of adventure morphed into a battle for survival. By the time I reached the remote Westfjords, the roads were nearly impassable. My van slid precariously on ice-coated paths, and the nearest town was miles away. Panic threatened to take over, but I remembered the advice of a seasoned traveler I had met earlier. The road teaches you to improvise, adapt, and overcome. With no cell service and a blizzard howling around me, I focused on what I could control. I used the van's heating system sparingly to conserve fuel, melted snow for water, and wrapped myself in every available layer of clothing. Morning brought not only clearer skies but also the realization that I had weathered the storm literally and figuratively. The experience taught me that resilience is not about being unshakable. It's about adapting when your plans fall apart. When I finally spotted the elusive northern lights that night, their green and purple hues dancing across the sky, they felt like a reward for my perseverance. Number 2. Kindness. The universal language of humanity. Traveling through Japan, I learned that kindness often transcends language barriers. On a humid summer day in Kyoto, I found myself hopelessly lost. The maze-like streets of the Gion district were charming but disorienting, and my rudimentary Japanese wasn't enough to decipher the directions I'd been given. As I stood on the corner, staring at my crumpled map, an elderly woman approached me with a warm smile. "Doko anayakitai desu ka?" she asked, gesturing toward the map in my hand. I hesitantly pointed to the location of a temple I was trying to find. Though neither of us spoke the other's language fluently, she motioned for me to follow her. For the next 15 minutes, she led me through narrow alleys and bustling markets, all the while pointing out landmarks and offering explanations in rapid Japanese that I couldn't understand but appreciated nonetheless. When we finally arrived at the temple, she bowed deeply and handed me a small piece of paper with kanji written on it. Later, I discovered it was a blessing for safe travels. Her selflessness reminded me that kindness is universal and often requires nothing more than a willingness to help. To this day, I carried that blessing in my wallet as a reminder of the small acts of compassion that connect us all. Number 3. Personal breakthroughs. Discovering inner strength in the Andes. One of the most transformative experiences of my life occurred while trekking the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu. The journey was a 4-day test of endurance, climbing steep mountain passes, traversing ancient ruins, and battling altitude sickness. By the second day, as we ascended Dead Woman's Pass at nearly 14,000 feet, every step felt like a monumental effort. My legs burned, my lungs ached, and the thought of giving up crossed my mind more than once. But amidst the struggle, I noticed something extraordinary. Fellow trekkers began to form an unspoken bond, offering words of encouragement, sharing snacks, and even carrying each other's packs when the weight became too much. A woman from Germany, who I had barely spoken to before, turned to me as I paused to catch my breath and said, "You can do this, just one step at a time." Her words carried me forward, and by the time we reached the summit, I felt an overwhelming sense of accomplishment. Standing at the sun gate on the final morning, overlooking the mist-shrouded ruins of Machu Picchu, I realized the journey had been about far more than reaching the destination. It had taught me to trust my strength, lean on others when needed, and find joy in the shared struggle. That sense of resilience and camaraderie has stayed with me long after the trek ended. Number 4. Funny missteps. Humor in the unexpected. Of course, not all lessons learned through travel are profound. Some come wrapped in hilarity. Take, for instance, my ill-fated attempt at cooking during a backpacking trip in Thailand. Determined to master the art of pad thai, I signed up for a cooking class in Chiang Mai. The instructor, a spirited local woman named Aom, guided us through the steps with ease. But when it came time to replicate the dish, I managed to confuse the chili flakes with paprika and accidentally set my wok on fire. Aom burst into laughter, quickly dousing the flames and announcing to the group, "Congratulations! You've made fiery pad thai." The class erupted in applause, and I couldn't help but laugh at myself. Though my culinary skills left much to be desired, I learned an important lesson. Mistakes are inevitable, but they're also what make travel memorable. To this day, every time I cook pad thai, I'm reminded of that flaming wok and the laughter that turned an embarrassing moment into a cherished memory. Number 5. Encouragement for future travelers. Travel is not just about seeing new places, it's about embracing the unknown and learning to navigate life's unpredictability with grace. It's about discovering that you are far more capable, resourceful, and resilient than you ever imagined. Whether you're braving a snowstorm in Iceland, getting lost in Kyoto, or climbing mountains in the Andes, every challenge and triumph becomes a part of your story. Perhaps the most valuable lesson I've learned is that travel is as much about the people you meet as the places you go. From the kindness of strangers to the camaraderie of fellow adventurers, these connections remind us that we are never truly alone in this vast, beautiful world. And if you can find humor in the mishaps and beauty in the struggles, then every journey becomes a treasure trove of unforgettable experiences. So pack your bags, step outside your comfort zone, and let the road teach you what it will. As the saying goes, not all those who wander are lost, but even if you are, that's often where the best stories begin.